Hey guys, this is UC from iTradePrice. It is Sunday, a little after noon Eastern. So let us get started with our weekly review. All right, so what you're looking at is the chart of NQ futures, E-mini Nasdaq futures contract, weekly view. So we had a nice few weeks of upside, right? But overall, since the past month now, right? Like early November timeframe, we're kind of stuck between 12,140 and on the downside, 11,430 or even 11,530 is one level on the daily that it's been kind of oscillating between, right? These, but the difference this time is that the chart, the price closed towards the lower end of its 4-week range, right? We had this nice monthly bullish, weekly bullish bar. We just kind of tried to see some upside follow through, but it kept getting rejected from this 12,140 level, and we saw this previous week bar close towards the low end. So that tells you that there is still some downside pressure now. But from risk and reward perspective, yes, I mean, if you kind of go long here, right, against the low of this 11,430 or even 11,400, from the risk and reward perspective, you're targeting the higher end of this recent balance or range, right? Where your stop loss is going to be minimal and you're targeting the upper end of this range. But let's see, maybe if you want to kind of time that according to some lower time frame chart and candles and see how this is going. But right now it just looks weak, right? Even in the daily view, we had this move down. We saw this Fed rally, and then after that we just did not see any upside follow through, bearish trend bars, and we saw this bounce from this 11,430 area on Thursday, but on Friday we did not see a follow through to the upside. In fact, we kind of failed. So it does look kind of, I would say, a little bear flaggish, right? It definitely has that sort of look and feel. Does it materialize? We don't know, but that's what we're going to find out in the next couple of days. I think maybe in the CPI print when it comes out. All right, let's take a look at maybe 4-hourly as well. So yeah, it does have that view, right, where we saw this upside move, but couldn't really get above this 11,830 or 840 area, because that's where we saw this last consolidation, and then it kind of fell through it. So we tried to get back into that price range, but couldn't really get above that. So unless or until we are above 11,840, something like that, it just remains weak. We could be, sort of a head and shoulder, with this definitely area being a support for the past 4 weeks now. But if that gets taken out, then 11,720 sort of is the major level on the downside. But we have this uptrend line as well, around 11,000, that it can kind of gravitate towards before deciding to go anywhere else. Let's take a look at ES. Let's start with the weekly view. Similar look and feel, right, as NQ, right? We have this rejection from this downtrend line, right? We tried to bump against it for the past couple of weeks, but couldn't really get past this 4,110 level, and now we're back into where we saw the breakout from a few weeks ago, right? So now 39.10 is sort of the area that it has to hold for bulls, but if it cannot do that, then 3,900 gets taken out. This definitely has that bearish look and feel from the structure perspective, at least, right? We have this in the lower time frame, these trend bars, these bearish trend bars, and you can see these bullish bars are not really aggressive and they're overlapping each other, so that tells you it's still congestion. Yes, the color of the bar is green, but it's congested, right? It's not aggressively as these bearish bars. So if we take this out, then watch out 39.11, and then maybe the targeted could be the length of this pole, which means lower prices here. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. Similar again to what the E-mini was showing. Daily view shows you a top wick on Friday no bullish follow through to the upside for the Thursday bounce that we saw from this 279 to 80 level. Couldn't really get above this this previous bearish trend bar, right, which was around 287 high, 287.7. So if we get back under 279, where it has been bouncing from for the past few weeks, that means there's this gap and then this uptrend line that it can kind of move towards. So watch out for those things. To really get bullish, it really needs to get above 287.5. I think if you look at in an hourly time frame, that's where we saw the big drop in the midweek, right, Tuesday, right? So the price couldn't get above that. It had tried to kind of consolidate, but really just not there yet. So 287, 288 level, it needs to get above to kind of feel bullish and try to get back above 295. Who knows? CPI print is on Tuesday. We'll see what happens on that day. SPY also very similar look and feel, right? Rejection weak, as we did not see break above this downtrend line. We saw price get back to the 4-week breakout level that we saw right here, right, early November time frame. So now if this gets taken out, 390 that is, right, it can kind of gravitate towards 375. That's where the next major support level is. But if we get a bounce on Tuesday after the CPI or something like that, then definitely I think we can break out above this 400 level, and then definitely go towards 412, 420 even, if this downtrend line gets taken out. But right now it's just looks heavy, right? You can see in the daily view we have this top wick, a little bit of bullish day itself, but very much contained, and then a Friday dump, and then we are now back towards the lower end of this bearish flag, and we'll see how it reacts on Monday. Okay, SPX, very similar look and feel, just like SPY. This 3900, 3910 level is the support that has held for the past month, but right now on the daily chart, the daily bars look kind of very weak. No big bullish days. The structure looks weak. So until or unless again 4000, 4010, if that previous swing high and lower time frame can be taken out by bulls, only then the structure starts becoming or leaning bullish, that is. Okay, Amazon daily, let's do a weekly view first. Still weak, right? The previous week I did mention that this was a doji bar, right, and it couldn't really get above 97.3, which was sort of the midway middle or pivot level, right, for all this range. Couldn't get above that, and now we saw a little bit of breakout to the downside. If it gets above towards 81, that's sort of a green box zone. So definitely I can look into some long-term, I'd say long-term, maybe a few weeks or maybe 2 months out calls, maybe in the money a little bit, just so that we can have a higher delta when the price does bounce from here nicely. Right, that's the green box level. But right now, if it breaks 87.5, that's where it wants to go, right, to kind of lean bullish. Yeah, you can play bounces in the smaller time frame, things like that, but really just the price structure point of view, it has to get above this 91 level to start giving some hope to bulls. Okay, Apple weekly view, we were trading and getting tight, as you could see, right, the price was getting tight, and we saw this bullish looking hammer bar the previous week, but this last week we saw a little bit of upside breakout, but couldn't hold and got rejected at 151, and now we're trying to break to the downside. So it could be that it trapped the buyers, the people who played the bullish side as a breakout, and now they're trapped and hoping for the price to reverse and go back up. But if it does not, if it dumps back down under 140, those people will be might be forced to sell, and that can add further fuel to the move downside, right? You have this top wick. So unless or until this resolves, this structure gets resolved, the price remains kind of weak, right? Weekly Tesla, no love, right? When we saw these two previous back-to-back weeks, bullish weeks, but they couldn't even get above 200, right? So that tells you the weakness in the underlying price structure, and now We have this bottom wick in the weekly view, but nothing really exciting, to be honest with you, from the bullish perspective. As long as, again, we're below 183, yes, if it gets above that, we can see some bounce towards the higher side of this range, which is 195 or even up to 200, right? But you know, it really needs to get above, outside of this range, above actually 201 to kind of start feeling bullish, right? Really on a higher time frame. Unless that happens, yes, we saw a little bit of bounce from this 167 level. That was our previous green box zone, which was a nice bounce, maybe like nice $30 bounce. But now, yeah, if it gets taken out, I think the next green box does not come until like 140, 135, right? Moving averages are also pointing downwards, still more bearish bars, bearish structure, right? The bullish days don't see any significant upside follow through. So unless or until that kind of changes, that sentiment changes, pressure remains to the downside. Netflix, love that chart, love the trade this past week. You know, we saw a nice bounce. We were consolidating, we were adding into calls. I think I've initiated the calls right here. Then it dipped down to 303. That was our level to add, and I would have added more between 300 and 296. The price never got there because that would have meant that we are touching this uptrend line. But we saw a nice gap up Friday morning. It traded all the way up to exactly 329 level, and then before we got this little bit top wick. But I did kind of got rid of a lot of calls that I had gotten. I'm still in some. I still like the chart long term. Weekly view looks nice, right? It's sort of, you know, slowly building. I don't have the volume here, but the volume is nice as well. You can see in the weekly chart, right? We have these nice bullish looking weeks, right? And any downside week, we don't really get any significant downside follow through. In fact, buyers see it as an opportunity to get long, and you know, just making these higher highs in the time frame. All right, this is NVDA. So NVDA also looking, I would say constructive, right? There is no bearish week, and even the downside move we see buyers come in and take the price back up. That's why we have this bottom wick and this sort of a uptrend line that it's holding looks nice. In a daily view as well, again 179, 180 is sort of the upside target, and then 193 if it can break above that. But it all depends on the overall market now and the CPI numbers on Tuesday, and see what happens. But so far, it's sort of making higher lows in the daily view, higher highs. We did see a little bit of rejection on Friday above 172. So we'll see. Let it consolidate a little bit. If it comes down and gets bought around 162, 163, that can be a bounce level, which is the uptrend line area. You can play the bounce from that area, right? And if it gets above this, let's see in the lower time frame what's it's doing. Let me bring the levels too. So yeah, we saw a little bit of move down, and now I think we can make this sort of a little bit of trend line, something like that. Again, 162, 163, that's the downside. That's the target to the downside if market is weak. And then if we get back above 170, that's a nice bullish structure, right? That's a nice bullish way to play. And you can see even in intraday, right? Look at this. If you were paying attention, right, we could see that we have this sort of a, bearish structure that ended up playing out to the downside late Friday. I wasn't paying attention, but those are kind of the things that you can look for. All these bullish bars you were seeing intraday, they were not seeing any upside follow through, and this 173.5 was sort of a ceiling, and then it just kind of dumped back down. So let's say 173.5 plus level, we are bullish on this. Okay. Google, it's got dumped as well hard on Friday. Weekly view, right? I think it was trying to get back above 103, 104 level. That's where we see all these multiple rejections from in the past couple of months. And now we're back under 93.9, 94. So from that perspective, if we lost the uptrend line, we lost the recent structure support at 94. So this chart remains weak as long as below it. Above that, I would not play a quick the first bounce it gets us, it definitely want to see if it can consolidate here and then start to build its base. It could be a right shoulder, right? We'll see how it plays out. But if it goes down further, we have this gap fill towards 90 to 88. It can try to kind of fill that out as well. We'll see. Let's take a look at one more. Microsoft saw a nice move to the upside around 256, but again, couldn't really get back above 256 towards this downtrend level around 268. And now if it can manage to stay above 237, make a higher low here, right? Something like this. If it can manage to kind of stay like this above this one, see a nice bounce, gets back above 250, 251. Definitely we can break out above 256, right? Because right now, yes, we did see a little bit of move to the downside, but downside is sort of restricted, right? It's kind of contained. It's not really bad unless or until it breaks down under 243, 242 towards 237. That's where the support level is, right? So kind of look for that kind of price action, because you can see the bearish bars are, the range of the bearish bar is small. Don't really see any multiple days of downside, right? Yes, we have these few days of downside right here. We have few downside days right here, but does not really kind of, break the structure. So anytime that happens, anytime we have 2 or 3 days of bearishness, we see some, kind of pull back to the upside. But we'll see how it plays out. Is it a bear flag that it's in the making? Right, something like this, and then we'll see if it wants to kind of give up that level or not. There you go, right? Something, oops, just changing the color. But you got the idea. If it breaks out to the downside, breaks this uptrend line as well around 244, 243 level, the 238 becomes in the picture, as that's where the structure support is. All right, guys. Hope you guys like this little video. Sorry for the short clip. I just have to go somewhere today, so if you have any requests, please leave me a message and I'll get back to you. Thank you. Bye bye.